I'm gonna try something here, and I'm not sure how it's gonna work, but I am here on Lake Como with Arlo and Zima and even Duchess. And we camped here for a night, which means so much. And so I don't know how this is gonna work because of the cars going by right now, but I had to show you guys this beautiful spot. When I first moved to Europe a little over a year ago, I was staying, like, I can see the places right across there in a town village called Verena. Well, actually the village I was in was a little bit above Verena, but that was like the main village. And it's so wild to be back here now, because when I first arrived, I wanted to, really get clear on what I wanted. I wanted to manifest everything that I was feeling in alignment with desire. And that was getting a van. That was, for some reason, horses were on that. Like I really felt like horses needed to be a part of what I was calling in. And I didn't know how that was gonna work out, because I had some horse experience, but I didn't like grow up with horses like a lot of girls on the farm have. And I wanted to have a YouTube channel where I brought forward all the messages and lessons that I learned along the way, that I've learned over the years, that I've been downloaded with, that I've come to earth with, that I've, all these things. And I wanted to not have to work any other way, like other than in that fashion of sharing information and whatnot. And so I was operating my Etsy business in my little flat right over there, and I was thinking about YouTube. I think I made like a vlog or two when I went on a date here. I don't think it was in Bellagio. I was in Menagio, which is on the other side of the lake over there. That was not good. I thought it was good. Hold on, let me free this cat, because she cannot figure out this leash situation. My dear, I know. It's so confusing. It is so confusing. How does it work? I don't know. This is like a test run for Duchess. See how she does while traveling, because traveling, I can't sit. Traveling will be such a big part of my life again now that the van is driving. I'm still testing it out. We're still not sure if like the issue will come back or not. So I want to know if I should bring Duchess or leave Duchess on the farm. If I left her on the farm, she's not going to get the same love and care. She's probably not going to be as fat as she is right now. But yesterday, oh my gosh, yesterday, when I was driving here, she was okay, but then every time I would open the door, she would try and run out. And so I stopped at the pet store, and I bought these two dogs, these bones that they're chewing on right now, and I got her that harness that she's on, because she outgrew her other harness because she's so fat. And this was my bad, but I left it on her while we were driving with like the longest leash ever, like a super long leash. I was like, it'll be fine. But this way, like when I do open the door, I don't have to worry about putting her on the leash. She'll be on. We drive for like 30 seconds or a minute, and she somehow manages to jump off the counter, and I have like a hook that's there to hang my pot. And she got hooked on that, because I didn't have the pot on the bed, so it wouldn't bang around. And so she got hooked on that, and she's screaming, and I was like, damn it. And I was in like a road where it was one lane, and I couldn't stop. There was no shoulder. And so I didn't know what to do. I just braked. And so then that magically flew her off of the hook, but then she like ran to the bed, and she just sat there and thought about what she did and what had happened. And she's like, fuck this. Fuck that human. Let me put my glove on, because my hand is so cold. Okay, I'm gonna defrost my other hand, and then hopefully the glove on this one helps. So anyway, she's doing okay now. She just went outside, potty for the first time outside. Zima She grew up in a van, so the farm owners of the farm that I live on, they started this whole thing by traveling throughout Europe in a caravan, and they had 6 dogs, 5 cats, and a bunny rabbit. I've heard the story so many times, but Zima was one of those. And so Zima's the top bitch of the whole pack. If you're new here, there's 60 dogs on the farm, rescue dogs, and so she's in charge of all of them. That's just natural in a pack of dogs. But she's also become really bonded with me, and I become bonded with her, and she is such a great guard dog. And the level of safety that I feel with her is absurd. Like I would have never in a million bajillion years, I don't know, but when it was just me and Arlo traveling by van, and I had just got here from the States like a few months, I couldn't get myself to sit on a bench like this at nighttime and just feel okay and feel safe. And I was working on it. I knew that I could. I knew that I was. I knew that I had my angels and guides protecting me. And, God's will is the most powerful thing, and I was fine. But I could not get my nervous system, my body to agree with that. I was so terrified. I would barely even look out the curtain of the front of my van, because I was afraid someone would see that I was a woman traveling with her dog, and just her dog, her happy, fluffy dog. And so I don't know if it's just time. I think part of it is time, because when I went camping in the States with my cousin a few months ago, we slept outside in a tent in the forest, in the middle of the forest, and she was freaking out, but I felt so safe, even though it was just me, her, and Arlo. And she was like, how do you feel so safe? I guess it's just because you've been traveling. And I think it is that, through teaching my body what it feels like to be safe, through evidence that I am safe, and through breaking the patterns of fear that keep us controlled, I've allowed myself to have these experiences where I know in my body, in my core, that everything is fine. And so Zima has helped with that for sure. Last night I felt sitting out here, I was like, shit, she's got her back. Sleeping in the van, I was like, any noise that was too close, she would go off. And so she is so wonderful. And the value that a guard dog brings is so huge. And I had never thought about it before. Here's an interesting thing. There's 2 interesting things actually related to this now. First interesting thing is living in California. I don't know, I guess maybe this is really valuable information that isn't supposed to come out because of this other thing. I'll explain. Living in California, in Southern California, in Orange County, where it's so safe, and having a guard dog is weird. You're like, why would I need a guard dog? But yet, everyone, not everyone, but based off anecdotal evidence of myself and my cousin, and I know many other people would have a hard time sleeping here in this random parking spot in a foreign country, or anywhere really like this, we don't feel safe. We don't think we need a guard dog. We think we're feeling safe, yet at a very deep conditioning level, nervous system level, inner body level, inner being level, we're not feeling safe. And that is keeping us controlled. That is keeping us, big truck. That is keeping us away from living the life that we want. People are so afraid to go after what they want because they feel this deep fear. And it's not necessarily just safety, but it's going after what you want, moving to that other country, starting that business, doing whatever, we feel so much fear, and so we stay small, we stay controlled, we don't do it. And yet we think that we're feeling safe, we think that we're balanced, we think that we're healed, we think that we're whole, and maybe not. Maybe you're super aware and you know that you're not feeling completely safe in your body. You know that this fear is controlling you, and you still don't know what to do. And so I'll go into that, and then hopefully I remember to get back into the other thing. The way that we can address the fear is evidence, right? I really practice and evidence. So when I look at the last year, like I said, it was the practice in giving my mind the evidence that it was fine. So every parking lot that I would sleep in, every new country that I would venture to, every experience that I would have that was foreign, although it would raise so much fear within my being, after I had accomplished it and like passed it, I would show myself like, oh, that was actually fine. And then the next one was easier and easier and easier. And so going after your dreams is the same thing. And so when you go after your dreams, and the first step is like terrifying, like buying the ticket to come here was pretty terrifying. It took me years to press the button, just press the button, but it was like a huge first thing that had to happen. You had to buy the ticket to come here. After I did that, I was like, holy shit, like, oh no, like, what if I sell all my things? What if I regret? Like, I was trying, after I bought the ticket, I was like, oh my God, maybe I should just not go and just waste my money on the ticket. Or I tried getting like a subleaser. I had a subleaser lined up, but then she fell through. I was like, okay, it's a sign I'm not meant to come back after a year. Like, I was thinking maybe I would just like go for a year and see how it went. But I knew at the bottom of my core, this is like, I wanted to be here. I wanted to live here for a while, at least, indefinitely. And so then I was like, okay, I'll just trust it. So we have to just make the decision, make that first step, and then experience it. And when you experience it, it's not like it's just going to be easy peasy. Like, it was really fucking hard the first few months because I was like, I don't know anybody. My van keeps breaking down in all these foreign lands. You know, it was hard. And also like all the conditionings and patterns that came up around closing my Etsy business and just going for the things that I want. I was like, okay, I'm really going into the quantum field manifestation, trusting that this stuff is real, trusting that there is a timeline where I get to just make videos and I get to just make coaching programs and I get to just do one-on-ones, and that's like all I have to do. And like, it's huge. And like, also knowing that is huge, that there's a value in doing the thing that you feel called to do, that it's like very, very important that you do it. And so I practiced that. When my perceived reality didn't give me that evidence, I practiced giving myself the evidence within my mind. And then slowly but surely, I started getting evidence within my perceived reality. And then it all started flowing and flowing and flowing. And then the other day, I just realized, I was like, or was it yesterday? The day before yesterday, I realized, I was like, I can leave. I was like, I don't have a job. Like, I volunteer my time because I love it and I love helping this nonprofit and saving these animals. But like, I can go spend a few days on Lake Como. I could go to Portugal, if my van allowed. I could go to Florence. I could go to Rome. I could go do whatever I want, wherever I want, however I want. That's what I set my life up to be. I was like, I'm not stuck. There's just like a little bit of like patterns and conditioning that made me think that I was. And so I was like, oh, and I texted the farm owner because we work on a lot of projects. So it's actually like a little bit hard to leave because I'm so excited about some of the things that I'm helping with and like doing with the farm. So right now we're working on finding a grant writer. So someone who would write grants for, or proposals for the farm so that we can get funding. So that the farm can get running and operating and not struggling so much, because the sale of the farm just went through like a month ago. So I'm helping with that and different things with the fundraisers and the website and the blah, 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 all these different projects. So I'm excited and passionate about them. It's not like I want to like go and be away forever, but I also wanted to go feel the sense of like freedom and sense of soul sovereignty and sense of like safety. I wanted to check in and see like, how does it feel to travel now after months of just like being in my cocoon and, you know, healing and waiting for the van to drive and following divine intervention and guidance. And it feels amazing. And so if you take anything away from this video, I hope that you take away that even if you're afraid of that thing, of going to that timeline, and your body tells you, and your mind tells you no, but you know that it's meant for you, just take one step and then take another step and then take another step. And slowly but surely you will give yourself evidence and imagine the evidence, practice, rehearse the evidence. And then you will start to experience the evidence. And then the evidence to the mind gets more and more real, but the mind does not know the difference of you visualizing it versus perceiving it in reality. And so if you are visualizing it, just like if you visualize biting into a lemon, your mouth starts to water, right? It's the same thing. So it's real. So rehearse giving your mind the evidence. What happens if I do this thing? Oh, visualizing, it works out. Oh, okay. Actually visualizing, I'm safe. Oh, okay. Like it's that. And then all of a sudden you're a completely different person, and you experience the world in a completely different way, and you attract different opportunities and experiences in a completely new way. And so life can be what you want it to be. You just have to choose, and you have to choose what you think, what you experience, what you perceive, how you feel. It's all your choice. And sometimes it's really fucking hard. Sometimes the mind wants to tell you, no, you have to feel this way. No, because you went through this thing, because your circumstances are harder than other people's. You have it harder. You went through those harder things. Like, you have to stay in this. I say that from experience. Some people comment like, well, you can only say that because you've never been through hard things before. I'm like, you've known me for how long? Like 2 minutes? So it's important to know that just because you went through those hard things, it doesn't mean that you can't have the life that you want. Just because you feel unsafe right now doesn't mean you won't feel safe later. Just because you're feeling symptoms doesn't mean you won't be healed. Just because you're having lack as your perceived, financial situation doesn't mean that you're not going to be rich as fuck soon. I know. I've been a potty mouth recently. I can't hold it back. Whatever I channel likes to swear. / I like to swear. So, the other thing that reminds me, let me make sure we're still recorded. The other thing, which is really off topic, kind of. I don't know, maybe it'll tie together. It always seems to do that, but if not, whatever. I had therapy the other day. It was wild. I love my therapist because she's very aware, and she allows source to come through and angels and guides to come through, and so we can have a very spiritual therapist session. And we were focusing on this, like, Duchess, don't jump. There's more to live for. Watch this cat. Anyway, we were focusing on like my jaw tightness and my neck tightness, and we went into past life regression and saw some interesting things that made a lot of sense. Really, it was being oppressed, and this lifetime was like by a husband who didn't like my power, and he had me in a cell, and he like smacked me across the face one time when I was speaking in my truth. And so that's like what was coming through when we were focusing on the jaw, and I was feeling trapped in the cell, and I was feeling, pretty much like I was trapped. And it was like relating to a lot of manifestations that I've seen in my perceived reality. And then what was interesting was like we were then focusing on this part, and my therapist started coughing, and she was like being strangled almost. She's like, oh my God. She's like, I swear it's like it's coming for me right now because we're focusing on it and because I'm helping you get rid of this thing. And like she was like needing water. She was having a hard time breathing. And I was like, holy shit. And so what I had seen was like in a past lifetime, somehow I like got into an agreement without even knowing that I was in this agreement with this like entity thing, that they could have this like chokehold over me of not speaking my truth. And so the truth is like the most powerful thing. When you bring something to the truth, when you bring something to the awareness, then it alchemizes and like it can no longer exist. The light always wins. And so my therapist was trying to help me. And so these darker entities, beings, whatever you want to believe or think of them, they don't like that. And so it's like the same thing, like when you start to shine brighter and people start to like project all this shit on you, and they're like, stay small. It's better when you stay small because then I'm not as threatened. And so it was like that kind of situation with my therapist. And so we had to end the session there. So the past few days I've been focusing and sitting with this. I'm like, you motherfucker. Sorry. I'm like, I see you and I bring the light through to you. And so I've been sitting with that, and I've been going through ancestral lines and dimensions and all these things, and bringing the light and bringing the light and bringing the light and setting myself free through meditation, through knowing my power, through knowing that in the truth, in the light, in the love, in the acceptance, I am free. And to not fear this thing, because there's nothing to fear when you are in your truth and you are in your sovereignty. So I wanted to share that, and I will share any updates or progress we have on that. Which also brings me to my last thing. My hand hurts so bad, it's so cold. My program, Decondition, starting January 1st. We're going to do past life regressions in there. We're going to go into the Akashic records. We are going to go deep. We're going to decondition the mind so that you don't have this fear on any level controlling you anymore, so that you can see clearly, you can know clearly, you can make these decisions clearly and get in alignment with your highest potential. So if you want to sign up for Decondition, that starts on January 1st. It's a pre-sale right now. You can find that in the link below. You can go to my website if you want to sign up for emails. I've sent out one email. I'm very proud of that. And ever since then, you guys have been signing up for the emails. So I'm like, maybe I should think of a second email soon. 21 days to know your divine guidance, 21 days to rewire your mind. Both very powerful programs, but please go read about them if you're interested, because my hand hurts. It's so cold. I will see you guys later. I'm going to enjoy a day on Lake Como and then head back to the farm. Once you guys see this, I will be back on the farm, most likely, or I will stop at a different stop on the way to the farm. So I love you guys. Goodbye. This is the story of Liam and why we're starting this fundraiser to bring him home. We want to bring Liam to our animal sanctuary and rescue here in Italy because he's a special pony, and he has had a history of a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse, and not many people understand him or will ever have the time to understand him, but there's something about him that's actually really special. Liam was sold to the farm owner and founder that we have here on our farm in Italy as something that he wasn't. He was sold as a horse that had no negative history of trauma or abuse, and he's actually covered in scars all over his body from a barbed whip that was used on him. He is terrified of humans. You can see it in his eyes when people come to touch him, but he's learning to tolerate through many, many years of slow introduction to different things and different ways of affection. And so if people have the patience with him, he can be a really wonderful addition to the farm, but he's not like your normal horse. And so recently we've been faced with the situation of him needing to come back to Italy, or come to Italy for the first time, because he can't be boarded at the place that he's in the UK anymore, and no one else will take him. And the options were really to either euthanize him or to bring him here. This was the first time that he had a saddle on with a rider sitting on him. He actually cannot be ridden, but this was a huge moment because he actually trusted it for the short time that she sat on him. So a big win for learning to trust, but we're never going to put him through that. We just want him to come here so that he can live out his life in peace and not have to worry about getting moved around a bunch or whatever would have happened if we tried to find another route. So we want to keep him alive. We want to give him a long, healthy life. We want to give him the love that he needs. And that's why we're raising the money to bring him here. And unfortunately, horse transportation is quite expensive. And so we have been trying to raise the $4,000 needed to bring him here. He's actually en route because we had a friend front the money, but it was just a front and we really want to pay him back. So all of your donations are so appreciated. And thank you so much for your support. And we can't wait to show you Liam's journey of living here in Italy with us. And I want to tell you more about our other horses that we're rescuing, which are 8 horses from Bulgaria. And so I'll tell you their story right now. These 8 horses come from the Foundation Life, which stands for Lucy Irvine Foundation Europe. They are all rescue horses, and Lucy has recently been facing health challenges with cancer. And so our sanctuary here in Italy has offered to take these horses off of her hands and to give them a forever home. This is Star. She was rescued from going to gypsies and working at age under 1 year old. So now she gets to grow up properly. 4 of the other horses that we're rescuing had a past of being raised for Christmas meat, where they were locked away in a stall with no light, and when they were found, they had severe muscle damage. One of them actually is unable to be ridden for the rest of his life, but he makes a great companion to his sister friend. 2 others were sick with tick-borne illnesses to the point where their organs were shutting down, and Lucy was able to nurse them back to health with a lot of dedication and care. One is a stallion who was beat so hard every time he would act just a little bit like a stallion, and now he has a pretty serious fear of men because of that history. Our animal rescue and sanctuary is completely committed to supporting these animals based off of their histories and their triggers and their traumas and their health conditions. And it's our purpose and mission to give them their longest, healthiest life possible here at their forever home. So thank you so much for your support, for your donations to help bring Liam and these 8 horses from Bulgaria here to Italy. The cost of this transportation will be 7,500 euros, and so it is quite expensive for us, especially because we are paying off debts like our hay bill and our electrician and our vet, and so all the extra money from the donation will go to those funds as well. So we thank you from the bottom of our heart for your support to helping us save these animals, give them a home, and to funding the care and the needs of them as well. So we really appreciate you. The link is below to the fundraiser where you can donate.